Welcome to Luscious Living, the podcast where personal growth meets wellness. Here, we talk about growth that feels nourishing, wellness that feels realistic, and habits that help you evolve without burning out. I'm so glad you're here. Let's grow together. Welcome back to Luscious Living, where we dive into living lusciously from the inside out. Today, I am addressing something I know resonates with so many of you brilliant, ambitious women listening to this episode right now, and that is fatigue. You might wake up tired, pushing through the day, running on caffeine, and sheer willpower, and you're good at it. But you might collapse into bed only to repeat the cycle tomorrow, either tired and wired, or yes, you are just absolutely exhausted and you do sleep well. And if this sounds familiar, you're not alone and you're not broken, because women experience higher rates of fatigue more than men, like everything else, guys. With studies suggesting that women are roughly 1.5 to 2 times more likely to report chronic exhaustion or feeling unrefreshed, particularly from 18 to 44. Again, it makes sense. You're either in school and you might be working part-time or full-time, and then you're getting into work, and then you might have kids, you might have elderly parents, you just have the pressures of society and life and being a woman, and it's a lot. And then have hormones that are super, super delicate, living in a very fast-paced world. And so I want to break down the number one culprit of fatigue that actually has nothing to do with your sleep, and that is your digestion. And that is actually going to be my number one focus, is how your digestion impacts your energy, and no matter how much coffee you drink, no matter how much sleep you get. We're also going to be talking about nutritional deficiencies. I'm going to be talking about blood sugar optimization. And lastly, about sleep. Sleep is obviously very important. However, sometimes, maybe due to work, maybe due to kids, you're not able to get enough sleep. And we're going to focus on some of the other really key movers as well. So I want to jump into things as I always do. And that first one is your digestion, specifically lack of strength in the spleen and stomach area. And that's really pulling from my roots in Chinese medicine. But what I want you to do is take a look in the mirror at your tongue. Is your tongue pale? Does it have swollen sides? Do you also have loose bowels? Are you feeling tired, again, despite having a full night of sleep? Really want you to take a look, because everyone's tongue is so different. And that is, if you said yes, Celine, then I really want you to focus on this. And it's crazy because I actually noticed this when I was on antibiotics in the beginning of this year. My tongue looked like that. It was just crazy, and I would wake up feeling so tired, no matter how much sleep I got, no matter how much coffee, and it's just this different level of tired. It's like your cells are tired. So I know that feeling, and a lot of people come into clinic with that type of tongue, and that's one of the big things, is that they're just tired, like chronically tired. And so the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to focus only on warm cooked meals. This is soups, congee, steamed vegetables. Keeping it really simple, no dairy, nothing greasy, avoiding common triggers like wheat and corn and soy, and having, for example, and like root vegetables. So this could be in the morning, you have either some millet with, again, really keeping it low sugar, but maybe you have some millet, maybe you crack an egg if you do tolerate eggs. You might have some congee with some chicken later. You might have some zucchini with parsnips and sweet potatoes. You might have in a stew, like lentil stew, for example. I want you to be eating almost more bland, more softer, again, warm, absolutely warm foods, and really aiming to stop eating as soon as you can at night. Maybe you're cut off right now, you eat until 11 or 10. Maybe the cutoff is 9. You start off with 9 or 8 or 7. And I do want you to, again, have some ginger tea as well, fresh ginger tea. If you experience a lot of brain fog, trying to sweat as well at a sauna or working out, getting some sunlight when it is sunny. And really, the big things is I want you to avoid cold smoothies, raw salads, excessive sugar, anything heavy as well. And slowly, slowly, you will start to experience some of that benefit, but really focusing on the foods to eat, especially. And actually, one thing is to have cork seeds or Job's tears and lemon as a tea, and barley as well during the day. So if you do want very specific recommendations, please come visit me at clinic. I'd love to help, because that is so important to get your energy so that you can do pretty much everything else. And I do find when I have felt like that, it feels I felt depression at the same time. It's just an awful feeling, because you're like, I have things to do, but I don't have the energy to do them. And it's just this vicious cycle. Okay, so that's going to be the number one thing, is strengthening your digestive system. And then that leads me to the next point, is iron and iron absorption. So when your digestive system is weak, you will not be able to absorb the nutrients you need, namely iron, in this conversation. And one of the things we need to do is to have enough stomach acid for absorbing iron and other nutrients. So iron needs an acidic environment to convert from ferric to ferrous form for absorption. And so some signs of low stomach acid is feeling full after eating any type of meal, bloating after eating meals, undigested food and stool, and you might see on your blood work that you have iron deficiency despite supplementation. And supplementation can be beneficial for some people, but long term, I'm not crazy about it, because it does make you constipated, and it doesn't address why you are having low iron as well. So some things you can do here is adding a tablespoon or teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in water before an iron-rich meal. But again, this is not something I want you to have to do all the time. Digestive bitters. These help to stimulate natural acid production. So you can do this through a tincture that you buy, or eating more foods like arugula or dandelion. Another aspect that's super, super important is having lots of chewing in your bites, which helps to activate digestive enzymes. And then really aiming to avoid using antacids unless medically necessary, because they can actually reduce stomach acid too much over time. And we also need to have enough vitamin B12 in order to help with iron absorption. And so again, if you have fatigue that doesn't improve with iron supplementation, you might have brain fog, memory issues, mood changes or depression, tingling in your hands and feet. I do recommend going to a naturopath for getting an injection of B12 and using methylfolate, not synthetic folic acid, which look for that, because a lot of supplements have synthetic. It's just called folic acid, but we want methylfolate. And then testing as well. Going to see your doctor, checking your B12 levels as well, but you also don't want them to be too high. Then another aspect is we want enough copper. Iron cannot properly be transported, absorbed, or used without copper-dependent enzymes. So this can easily be found in foods like beef liver. And again, if you don't like beef liver, having beef liver capsules until your iron levels are high enough. Cacao, not from, unfortunately, a Kit Kat bar, but really you can buy cacao powder, like a good quality raw cacao powder, and bake with it, or you can use it to make hot chocolate. Oysters and sesame seeds, so if you like tahini. So I want to give you an example of how to use some of these. So I'm a huge fan of tahini. I am Mediterranean. And so tahini, I like adding it to a rice cake, adding a little bit of honey or banana as a pre-workout snack. You can use tahini in your salad dressing. I don't need any excuse to eat oysters, but I know not everyone likes them. You might try smoked oysters as well, and then have them as a snack plate. But again, these are kind of niche, and I do encourage you, I want to empower you to look up some foods that are high in copper as well if you don't like any of those foods. But I think most women like cacao. Or you can add sesame seeds to a sandwich, to your eggs, to a salad as well. We also need vitamin C to help absorb iron, so you can squeeze lemon on spinach, eating strawberries as a dessert after eating some steak, for example, or some bell peppers. I also want you to be mindful of not having coffee, tea, or dairy because of the calcium within 2 hours of iron intake as well. And you can have cast iron cooking, like a pan. I do quite love it, which can help increase the iron content by up to 16%. And another really, really important aspect of this is to avoid phytic acid found in beans. So if you eat beans from a can, they have not been properly processed. They actually need to be dried, soaked in water, and then cooked. And that's why people get gassy when they eat, is because the beans in the cans have not been, again, prepared properly. So they will create digestive upset, and then you won't also absorb your iron properly. And it doesn't take time. That's my number one concern I receive from my clients is about the time, but I promise you just need to buy a bag of dried beans and you add 2 times the amount of water into the bean. Just let it sit overnight and then cook them the next day while you are doing laundry, and then it'll be done. Then some other nutrients that you do need for stable energy is number 1, magnesium. This is required for over 300 processes in the body, but really will help with sleep for most people as well. There's different kinds of magnesium. I want you to do your research on that. You can, if you want to have that one-on-one support for personalized recommendations, please reach out and be happy to help. But for most people, for muscle relaxation, magnesium biglycinate or citrate is a great option. Then vitamin D levels. If you are in the Northern Hemisphere, then they actually don't even do testing in Alberta where I live because most people are deficient and it's just expensive to test people who are deficient anyways. And again, take it safely, but it is hard to overdo. I think sometimes there's a lot of fear about supplements. I think we should be afraid of not getting enough vitamin D more than we should be getting too much. Okay, can really be really helpful if you have anything autoimmune as well, or you get sick frequently, or you have low mood in the winter. Zinc is another really important one, but if you do zinc too much, that can actually impact your iron absorption. Then water. Water is required to create ATP. If you remember ATP in high school, your body's primary energy currency, and dehydration will stall metabolism and then lower your energy output. So just carrying that water bottle around with you. I'm not crazy on everyone taking electrolytes like you see on social media right now. But just, you can add a pinch of sea salt to your water, good quality sea salt, and that was your electrolyte. You get your minerals there. Some action steps could be to go to see your naturopath, your doctor, to assess levels. Again, different doctors are going to test different things. You might have to request certain things as well. And then really trying to look at one of the nutrients. Again, if you know you are low iron, I would start by having the ginger tea in the morning. And then for your lunch, I would have something like congee, or maybe you have oatmeal. You have some chicken thighs with some squash and zucchini and beets, for example. Okay. And then the other aspect of this is blood sugar. Blood sugar, blood sugar. I wish I was told this when I was younger because it would have saved me so many energy crashes and caffeine and sugar, mostly the sugar, like the intense sugar cravings in the afternoon. So what I want you to imagine, and this is not just if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes or PCOM, I want you to think of this for life, okay, is blood sugar. So I want you to imagine that your blood sugar is a gentle wave versus a volatile roller coaster. When you eat refined carbohydrates, you skip meals. Let's say you just have a bagel with butter instead of a bagel with butter and an egg. Your glucose spikes rapidly, triggering insulin to crash it down. And then over time, what happens through this loop is eventually type 2 diabetes. And what we need to do, or even things like non-alcoholic fatty liver, a lot of metabolic conditions. And so what we see is that classic post-lunch fatigue or that irritability when blood sugar drops, sleep disruption as well. You might be waking up hungry in the middle of the night, or again, you just might be waking up tired, or you just feel like wired and tired feeling at the end of the night. And so what we want to do is start to add in some steps that are going to help with um, blood sugar balance. And so what we want to do, like a really good architecture plate, would be having at least 15 to 30 grams of protein per meal to stabilize blood sugar for 3 to 4 hours. This can look like 2 to 3 eggs with, or like one egg with some egg whites. This can look like a palm size of chicken breast. It could look like a palm size of tofu. Then we add in a third of that plate in healthy fat, so about thumb size. This could be avocado, this could be olives, this could be walnuts, and then having some complex carbs. Okay, so again, half a cup to a cup. This provides steady energy without the spike. So this could be rice, but again, the blood sugar spike would happen if you didn't have the fat and the protein with it. If you add in something that has lots of fiber, such as lentils, such as chickpeas, such as you have black rice, you have millet, you have barley, those have lots of fiber and they provide energy again without the spike. So a bowl that you could have as lunch could be grilled salmon, you have quinoa, you have avocado, and you have some sauteed kale and roasted vegetables. Or you might have, again, chicken thigh with sweet potato, tahini dressing, and a rainbow colored amount of vegetables. You have cabbage and zucchini and mushrooms and watercress. If you're doing plant-based, this could look like hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds. Again, you have your protein and fat. You have black beans. And actually, when you pair black beans with rice and you have a complete source of protein, then you have avocado. Maybe you eat it with a wrap. You add some cheese on it if you like as well. And so I want you to think of fiber. I want you to think of protein and really have your water before or after eating, not during, because it will disrupt with your digestion as well. And then if you also find yourself waking up at between 2 to 4 a.m. and you're maybe hungry, you are like really feeling like this like jolted awake, I do want you to consider blood sugar here as well. Aiming to stop eating so close to bed, but having something like a handful of cashews, maybe with half a pear or apple, maybe a few pumpkin seeds, maybe some chamomile tea as well, and trying to mitigate those spikes of cortisol, because again, it will really make you feel tired the next day. So speaking of sleep is not just rest in that moment, but it really is your body repairing, detoxifying, and consolidating memories. And so in order to sleep better, and again, I am coming from a place of someone who does struggle with insomnia time to time. So I really, it's funny because in some of the insomnia literature, it says like, try not to optimize it so intensely because it's almost like a game. And then it's like, okay, well, now I can't sleep. I've done all the things. But I do find that a lot of these help immensely. So the first one is temperature position. Especially if you're like me, you get a little bit more warm at night. And a lot of women I see are sweating at night as well. The ideal temperature is said to be at 18 to 20 degrees. And I sometimes need to have it even cooler if it is summer, or if you're like me about to get your period, you do feel more warm. I do actually splash my body with some water, sometimes even a little bag of ice, and that helps me sleep so well. Really, really, really. Again, you know about dimming the lights. You already know about, the blue light blockers if you can. And then sometimes for some people, having some kind of white noise, pink noise, brown noise can really make a difference. And it's something I was thinking about because where I live, it's so quiet, but it's still in the city. So it's not like I'm hearing, birds chirping all the time, except in the spring, which is just my favorite thing. But sometimes it's almost too quiet. And I know a lot of people also feel better when they have the TV on, they have a podcast on, and that can also make a difference. And of course, I do love magnesium as well. So, my friends, I always try to keep this short and sweet and actionable. So if we look at some action steps that number one, if you're like, I'm sleeping, I feel like I'm, taking my vitamin D and my magnesium, but you're still tired, the number one aspect of this is your gut health. We want to strengthen that digestive fire. That is the number one thing, because it's like this, like, just slowed down feeling. I know what it feels like, and it's not very fun. So let's fire up your metabolism, your digestive fire. And again, if you do want additional support and personalization, come and see me at, my acupuncture practice. Come and see me for nutrition. I would be so honored to be of assistance to you. Or if you have requests on podcast content around that, let me know. Again, I'm here to serve you. You might also consider getting some blood work just to see overall where you're at. Starting the day with 15 to 30 grams of protein, or if, again, you're not hungry first thing in the morning, which if you have that kind of tongue where it's just more like puffy or wide or pale, or you just, again, you feel like you have loose bowels, you probably are not hungry until way, way later on in the day. And when you do have that first meal, try to have that protein, try to have it warm. The warmth is going to be key. And then root vegetables will also be your friend here, and easy to digest foods such as congee. Increasing your water intake, even if it's 1 cup more, but you don't have to overdo it. Again, the whole gallon of water thing, those huge jugs of water that can actually suppress your digestive system. Just check your urine. Is your urine clear? That's the best way to tell. And if you find that you're not getting hydrated with water alone, then there are some lots and lots of formulas, like Chinese medicine formulas, that I can also help with to help replenish that fluid, because water does not cut it sometimes. So beautiful, beautiful listeners, your energy is not just fuel for productivity, but it's a foundation for joy, for creativity, and your presence in this world. And, when you reclaim your vitality, you, of course, improve your own life, but you get to share the gift of you with other people. And I know that we are here to do that. Okay. And so being tired is not your destiny. It's just a signal that your brilliant, intelligent body is asking for something different. So I hope that you will take one strategy, one simple idea from this episode and commit to it for the next 7 days. Then send me a message on social media at _lusciousliving_ to tell me how it's transforming your energy. It would make my day. I hope this made yours as well, and I'll see you for the next episode. Bye. If this conversation added value to your world, I'd love to receive a 5-star review from you. It really helps to reach the right ears. For deeper dives and curated resources, be sure to check out the links below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll meet you back here next time.